Welcome to the Across the Bar podcast, where we talk about how today's headlines are important for your success at work. My name is Peter Rahbar, and I should be your first call on legal issues.
And I'm Laura Brounstein. I should be your first call on comms and content. And I actually had a legal issue this week, and I texted Peter right away, and he knew all the answers. So,
yeah, I mean,
great job there, Peter.
Of course. For you, instant answers.
So nice. All right.
For others, maybe not so much.
There's a lot of things to talk about, and I think only one of them is good. So let's get into it.
Great setup in case you were deciding whether to continue watching or listening.
How do you know if this will be a fun way to spend the next half hour? Everything is dark. No.
Right.
So we are.
Well, I was just in Canada, and it was a little more, there's a little more optimism there. A lot of doom also.
Well, when they heard where you were from, what did they say to you?
I mean, once someone hears you're American, it's like immediately the talk track starts about like how crazy everything is and blah, blah, blah. And
do you find yourself saying, though, you're from like I always say, no matter where I am, if someone's like, where are you from? I say New York, not.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
The U.S.
100%.
Like
someone asked me where I live and I said Brooklyn and they said Ontario. I was like, definitely not Brooklyn, Ontario. Brooklyn, New York, very different place.
Now, did you see any hot gay ice hockey while you were in Canada this week?
I saw ice hockey. I don't know. I wouldn't say it was hot and gay, but I was with the person who greenlit the show, and he had this very cool heated rivalry hat.
And you got me one. And where is it?
Yeah, I could get you one. I'll get you one.
Really?
Yeah, of course.
Ooh. All right. We're going to talk about, of course, the frozen water, as it's called on a lot of social media right now, ICE, and all of the people who finally woke up and are standing against the travesty happening in our streets right now. We are going to talk about the fact that the EEOC has found a new group to protect. Spoiler alert, white men, this is for you.
White men, listen up.
White men. And then Jeff Bezos pissing people off left and right.
Literally.
And thousands of them, and we'll talk about that. And I think those are our and then my favorite topic, the generation that is adapting best to AI. And that'll be a spoiler. I will actually hold on to that one because it's very exciting. Which generation? Everybody, think about what generation you think it is. You're probably all thinking Gen Z, little whippersnappers, learning AI when they learn to speak. You might be surprised.
Yeah, you're already spoiling it. So let's just cut that off right there.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, Peter. So I basically was glued to my television all day Saturday because I could not look away from the horror of what was going on in Minneapolis. I was watching CNN. Shout out to Sarah Seidner in the street. She got gassed at one point and had to run into a store to try to get it out of her eyes. It was incredible. I think in large part because it was so stark. All the news was unfolding as the day was going, and we saw all these leaders characterizing Alex Pretty's death as something very different from what we saw with our own eyes. Where were you on Saturday? Were you wrapped up in this also?
Well, I think, part of what happened here was half the country was locked inside on snowstorm alert. And
it's like a COVID effect. Almost.
So there was a captive audience to begin with, and then we saw the power of video and the power of the people on the streets in Minneapolis. I mean, really brave people. The front lines.
Pink jacket lady. Cheers to you. Amazing.
Yeah, I mean, on a very basic level, just fighting for freedoms and to curb what was, even now the administration is now admitting a sort of lawless, boundaryless, ICE invasion of that city, and it went far beyond, tracking down criminally violent, allegedly, migrants. There were attacks on Americans and shooting of a defenseless, individual in the street that was recorded by multiple people, and everyone saw what it was. Everyone could understand what it was, and the government was trying to tell us it was something else, and that's just not. It's not credible. It's
I
not
mean,
credible.
I'm in some ways so relieved. Like, I thought this was a real moment to see if people would still trust their own eyes, or if we were at a real 1984 point where the government had already convinced us not to trust our own
Right.
eyes. But we are not there yet, it seems.
Yeah, and the victim was a nurse in an ICU in a veterans hospital.
Who helped veterans, who his last
Yeah, it
act
was
on earth
unbelievable.
was trying to help a woman who'd been pushed down.
And part of the sloppiness of the response was trampling on the rights of gun owners in the country. So
I mean,
that
I
pissed
could not
people
believe
off.
that. Peter,
So
I know you're not like a munitions lawyer, but
correct.
does the Bill of Rights have an asterisk next to the Second Amendment that says, unless we think it seems dangerous, then we can kill you for having a gun?
I mean, ask Kyle Rittenhouse if it's okay to bring a loaded gun to a protest. I
I think he had an AK-47 out,
Yeah,
didn't he?
right, out. No, so look, the combination of all these things, and then Saturday night we had a couple tech CEOs at a screening at the White House of the Melania movie. I mean, it was like outrageous. We had movements spring up over the weekend and last week. Tech workers, banding together to get their companies to stop
The
supporting
fact
ICE.
that the CEOs, I thought the group of companies and their CEOs from Minneapolis, from Minnesota,
Right.
was really impressive, because Target, 3M, he's going to pay attention to those.
Almost all the
The
sports
list
teams.
of tech
it's-
workers, I just looked at the list. There are some big names, but a lot of it is like guy who used to analyze data at a company that went out of business.
Well, the tech worker list is more geared towards the companies. I mean, and that's going to be a tough battle. I mean, but we see there's a big battle at Palantir, which is a big supplier of software to ICE. But they also supply like all law enforcement and armies and military. I mean, that's going to be a tough one. And
He seems reasonable, though, that CEO. That was a joke. That was a joke.
But the CEOs coming together in that Chamber of Commerce letter or type, I don't think it was actually the Chamber of Commerce, but the 60 companies in Minneapolis. Yeah. I'm actually surprised more of that hasn't happened, because that is the way to fight back. I mean, to the extent
scared. Bitches are scared.
But to the extent individual companies are scared, and obviously Tim Cook and Andy Jassy are scared, and that's why they went to a Melania screening on Saturday night. But you could these organizations do exist. In New York, there's not only the Chamber of Commerce, there's the Partnership for New York, there's associations that represent different professions across. Like, I still don't understand why individual law firms felt like they had to fight on their own.
One of the podcasts I was listening to made the point, maybe it was Pivot, or something, that like had Paul Weiss just tried to ban with others. We heard at the time that they did try to ban with others, and it just didn't work, though, right?
I think that was bullshit. I don't think they really did. I mean, so these organizations exist.
Paul Weiss's revenue is up. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. But, I mean, this is, I think, the smart way, to the extent companies want to push back, like, do it with other companies, do it with other industries, do it within your industry. There are ways to do it. I mean, it's ridiculous. Like, and we saw that this weekend, and now we're starting to see individual CEOs come forward with messages of, quote, de-escalation. So that's the phrase that's come through.
Those de-escalation statements, some of them are good and some of them are kind of wussy to me. Like, there are we need a drawdown of troops in Minneapolis. It is a city of 500,000 people, and there were 3,000 ICE troops there.
I mean,
those numbers are insane. I was watching Abby Phillips last night, who I enjoy, and that guy Kevin O'Leary, who was on Shark Tank.
Mr. Wonderful.
Yeah, was on there.
Marty Supreme.
And he was just like, but why is it happening in Minnesota? And they were like, because they sent 3,000
Yeah,
troops there.
it's pretty easy.
Because they were, mad about the voter rolls from 4 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, this is not about Somalians. This is not about fraud. By the way, fraud is typically prosecuted through courts, not
Well, when they
through
keep
law
saying,
enforcement
there's a lot of
agents.
fraud there, it's like, well, then why didn't you send a lot of lawyers?
Fraud is a white-collar crime, so send in
That
some...
blew my mind when they kept saying, well, there's a lot of fraud and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Sure, there does seem like there was some messed up stuff happening in terms of public monies being spent, but you send lawyers and accountants then, not idiots with guns.
Yeah, so look, I mean, we're seeing some changes, and people are, not only standing up, but also like just finally acknowledging like what I'm seeing is not what they're telling me, and that's not right. And there's other stories coming out. Like yesterday in a court hearing, it came out that ICE has violated 96 court orders in Minnesota. Like, that's insane. Like, violating a court order shouldn't happen at all for a government agency, but for 96 of them within, the past year or so, that's absolutely no one should accept that. No agency or elected official or unelected law enforcement should be above the law. And so hopefully, we've said for a long time here, the last line of defense is the courts. And we got to, make sure that system is resisting all efforts to break it down. But, this whole concept of ICE agents have absolute immunity, I don't think that will stand up. And that's in the courts right now. And let's see how
JD
that
Vance
turns out. Hopefully
put that out as like a trial balloon, it seemed.
That guy has no idea what he's talking about. So, good luck to him.
The vision of them doing that dinner Saturday night was kind of unbelievable. It wasn't just let them eat cake. It was like, we're going to eat cake, and you all are just going to get shot to death.
Yeah, and people just look at that and be like, it's pretty clear you don't care about the people. I mean,
yeah, in what way is this focused on the needs of...
It's not helping anybody.
Yeah. So I just want to share one thing I did that I think is a great thing everybody can do, is subscribe to the Minneapolis Star-Tribune. It is a great newspaper. And if we don't have local papers, things go wrong in the country. We need local journalism. So when you see something like this happening, a nice thing to do is to subscribe to the local newspaper or donate to the local NPR station.
Yep.
So just throwing that out there.
And
$5 to subscribe to the Star Trib for 1 year. What a deal.
It is a great paper. I've spent a lot of time in Minneapolis during my career, so I'm actually, have very familiar with it. And I've spent time in the Star Tribune offices even. So it is great. It's an institution, and their coverage has been fantastic.
Yeah.
But I thought you were going to use that to send a message to another owner of a local newspaper who you might be less happy with. He's bald. He likes attending fashion shows.
That's not a local paper. That's a DC paper.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. I'm just saying.
Local to DC.
Yeah, Jeff Bezos is making everyone very angry. Word just came out yesterday, leaked, that they are going to lay off 16,000 corporate executives at Amazon next week. That's a lot of people, even for a company as big as Amazon. Like, a lot.
Right. And Amazon layoffs are, to me, sort of not such an interesting story anymore because they seem to be happening with quite regular frequency.
Oh, it's just huge, though.
This one was kind of interesting because it got leaked inadvertently through an email that an HR, executive sent mistakenly to people who shouldn't have seen it. And it really reinforces the point, of course, that anytime you're doing a layoff or a termination of even just one person, you need to take every precaution to make sure that these people are treated with respect, that the decision is communicated with respect and care, and to, that executive should be fired, frankly. That is such an egregious error. But part of their messaging is like, this isn't going to be a regular thing for us, layoffs every couple of months. Well, I don't know.
Like it is.
We've seen that it is.
And did you see the article about the Washington Post today? Where was that article? New York Magazine? Like, why does it exist? The New York Magazine, I think, wrote, that the Washington Post is having an existential crisis at the moment because it does not seem to have a clear mandate or reason to exist because of some of the limitations that have been put on it by its corporate overlord. Yeah.
Well, I mean, part of, if we go back a couple years, part of the excitement when Jeff Bezos first purchased the Washington Post was that perhaps this could be a new model, or at least this is what we were sold, that billionaires would buy these papers and then maybe
and he was a good custodian of it for the first few years.
Yeah, they'd be more custodians and not so concerned about profit loss. They'd be willing to absorb it. And, you know, here we have 16,000 layoffs coming up at Amazon. We have, you know, massive layoffs coming up at the Washington Post, including rumors of like half their foreign correspondents. They just canceled their Olympic coverage.
Well, I think they are sending them now, but they had at first had told all the sports reporters they weren't going to go to the Olympics to report on it.
And all this is happening while Amazon is spending $35 million on marketing for the Melania documentary. Now, that's just hard to absorb. And Jeff Bezos is attending fashion shows in Paris.
Oh, like people are real pissed off in the fashion world that Anna Wintour is rolling with them in a hilarious way.
I mean, you talk about, you know, how public image and the message you're sending to employees. I mean, those things. I know he's no longer actively involved in allegedly the management of Amazon, but
we think that's
terrible messaging to employees.
Terrible. And like just being seen going to a Paris couture show and you announce laying off all those people, it's just a bad look.
Right.
Like,
so
I do think that there is a class of people in the U.S. right now, the billionaire class, and the certain kind of people with power in the new administration that just really do think nothing applies to them. Like, no one would be mad at them. They can get away with anything because they have the money or some little bit of power.
Right. They don't like rules, but they want to make the rules and they want to control everything. And we see that now playing out in California too, with this debate over the one-time, you know, billionaires tax, and you know, you could debate whether it's a good idea or not. I think that's a legitimate debate. But to see, you know, wealthy people finally get engaged over an issue and caring for the state, you know, and it's a tax issue that impacts them, and you know, a bunch of them moving to Florida, Texas, Wyoming, wherever. You know, it's not that easy to just pick up and move, but it's also easy.
Scott Galloway likes to say the people who can move most easily are billionaires. Like,
but yeah, I think there's growing resentment, you know, towards these people and how much power they're wielding and how much our society is really set up to support their interests. And
as you and I have talked about, this level of income inequality does not tend to last too long in a society because it just people rise up. And you know, you've talked a lot, Peter, about kind of a tipping point and a kind of a critical mass of people resisting or standing up. And I think your point that everybody was home this weekend because of the weather is a really important one and a good one, that more people, everyone is saying like people that are never activated are activated on this now. And I think it's because everybody watched it. Everybody was home. I hadn't really thought about that piece. You're right.
Yeah. I mean, you know, people have very different reactions when they're not distracted, and also the power of video is unmistakable. I mean, there's countless examples where, you know, stories or bad things happened and they were described in words and people had one reaction, and then a video popped up and they had a very different reaction. You know,
which is why the Epstein files should be released, even though they are now almost 100 days behind schedule.
They're very late. Very late. And I guarantee you there's some Epstein videos.
Yeah, even though we all kind of think we know it's going to be in there, it's true that seeing it will be different.
I mean, people see the pictures that came out in the last few weeks, and it's a very different reaction to some of that stuff. Mm-hmm. So
yeah,
we'll see what happens.
And you see some of them, and you think about, you know, Melania's Einstein genius grant to get into the country, which was how she got access to the U.S. and now her whole family. Also are citizens. It's interesting how immigration can work, right? All right, Peter.
I mean, also, by the way, speaking of immigration, there are corporate leaders starting to speak out. Another thing they're starting to speak out about is the impact of the H-1B visa changes.
Yeah.
That are, and we're not only seeing it with companies who are now speaking up and saying, like, look, we're having a problem hiring people, and also, I don't want to go open an office in Europe to, employ these people because it's hard to fire them. It's, the whole regulation environment's different, blah, blah, blah. So there's a lot of dialogue with the government about that. We're also seeing reports of very real impacts at colleges and universities over the decline in foreign student enrollment. Yep. And schools are shutting down. One school I was reading about, their foreign student enrollment's down 10% already, and they're shutting down graduate programs because of it. And so this whole like fallacy of,
create
we're going to shut down these immigration channels so that American workers and American students could have these opportunities. I mean, people just are understanding that's a load of BS. This was additive. There are not enough American workers to take all these jobs. There are not
it's
enough
also just
American
not a numbers game.
students.
People need training. Like, people have to know how to do some of these things.
Right.
That we might not have the right skill sets for.
And by the way, having foreign students come to our colleges and universities, which were regarded until very recently as the best in the world, was a great way to attract people to this country in a legal way.
Was showing
and
what
contribute.
We wanted.
Yeah. I mean, let's not forget these things, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So, look, we're going to spend years undoing this damage that Stephen Miller and, co. have done through their, evil-minded policies. But people, I think, are waking up to it, and then we'll see what happens. I mean, this week there was a change in temperature and a change in tone and approach, and now we have Tom Homan instead of Kristi Noem, and
what a
instead
win.
of the Bovino guy.
I mean, Bovino, what? I really appreciated Dana Bash and Kristen Welker, and I'm sure others, but those were the two I saw this weekend, who, when Bovino was like, well, he interfered, really pushed and said, are you saying if you see someone get knocked down, you shouldn't reach to, like,
Clown.
See if they're okay? Like, that is human nature. Are you saying that that's not what people should do? It was just, I really appreciated them actually asking the thing that everyone is thinking. Like, what are you talking about?
Right.
So another place where the government is looking to prosecute things that might surprise us is the what's it called? The
EEOC.
EEOC, Equal Employment
Opportunity Commission.
Yes.
So this is.
And what did you read, Peter? What are they? Whose rights are they now? Thank goodness, standing up for.
Yeah, I mean, it's something I've been seeing because it's what I do, and I've dealt with the EEOC a lot in my career. This is the federal agency charged with enforcing the anti-discrimination laws, and if you ever want to file a lawsuit under federal law, discrimination lawsuit or harassment, you have to file a charge with the EEOC first, and. Their priority, first when the president came into power, he basically neutered the agency and rendered it like unable to do anything because he fired commissioners, and that was litigated for a while. Now they have enough commissioners to do work, and their priority under the new chair, Andrea Lucas, is protecting the rights of white males and protecting the rights of.
Was that a beautiful moment for you? Like, did it make you feel warm in your heart when you read that? Like,
I mean, we could do a deep dive on like
first
the weird spot.
They protected the white farmers in South Africa. Now they're protecting the white man.
We could do a deep dive on the weird spot I'm in personally as like a Middle Eastern person, but a white male under American racial categories. But
yes, white male presenting.
Yeah, white male presenting. There you go. So white males and American-born workers, those were their two big agendas, and they literally put out solicitations for people to come to them. Again, like this is an outreach of Stephen Miller's, America First Legal Defense Fund, except it's the EEOC, where people who are disadvantaged or in categories of either race, national origin, gender, religion that
These
are
are the people you
traditionally
vote for. I
underrepresented.
know. The men are making more than the women someplace. You
Yeah.
go there and you say, "What's up?"
This is ridiculous. It's a waste of government resources. It's embarrassing for the agency, frankly. It's definitely not a problem in our society, in any way. So it's sad to see the government. I mean, frankly, the EEOC, I have a lot of problems with how the agency has operated over the years, but these checks on corporate behavior are important.
Yeah.
And they've all been
Pure.
essentially eliminated. They also, eliminated guidance on like what is harassment in the workplace, which they thought they were doing employers a favor, but actually like employers rely on those guidelines to set their policies and set training and do their own investigations.
Know where the line is.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah.
It's really insane. It makes me sad to see it, frankly, because there are people who need representation now more than ever, and the government's just like, we're not interested.
They're just nah.
And they've also made another change to give the commissioners more power over where they direct their resources, and they now describe themselves as an executive employees, not as an independent agency. So you know what that means. That means the big man makes the decisions on where the EEOC directs its resources. It's not an independent decision.
People are paying attention to all of the power this imperial president is scooping up.
Yeah.
Because he's not
It's scary.
rich. Yeah.
It's scary.
All right, let's talk about the good story in the mix.
Yeah. This is your favorite thing.
Gen X is actually...
I'm gonna leave it to you. You love
Gen
it.
X is the best generation and is adapting to AI use better than any other generation because we already went through the sea change of the internet and cellular and mobile. And so we're like just jumping in, whereas other generations, boomers are like, what's happening here? Millennials are coming along, and Gen Z is resisting more than any. This is like their first big sea change, and they're enjoying it. But are you surprised about our prowess?
I'm not, because we are resilient. Like, I love telling my kids this stories about how I remember when email was created, and I remember when the internet was created.
When
and
Al
we're
Gore
like,
created
what
the
the hell?
Yeah.
and so here we are. Like, we've been through some pretty major changes. Here's another one, and look, it's. From a work perspective, no matter what generation you're in, you better know all. I've said this a million times on this podcast. Like you better be familiar with all the AI tools that are relevant to whatever you do. I mean, I can tell you in law, it's a huge issue right now in terms of how AI is used, what the functions are, how clients are billed for it, what it's going to do to the industry down the line, and in every industry that debate is going on. So. Kudos to the Gen Xers, before you get laid off, like learning how to use the tools and being familiar with it. But if you're young and you're out looking for a job, like you better market yourself as someone who's really familiar with these tools, who could be helpful to a company. And so the boomers, of course, now being referred to as the worst generation. So no surprise that they're resisting. And
no surprise.
It's fine. It's fine.
All right, Peter, we going heavy or light with our heroes and zeros?
Light. I'm going light.
All right, give your zero. We're going light. Everybody understand that we are not going light because we don't think there are more important things happening. But you need to laugh also. Keep up the noise resistance.
My zero, we've mentioned it already. It's like this Melania movie is so ridiculous. And the press tour and the money being spent and the government resources. I think tonight there's a premiere at the Kennedy Center or whatever. No one cares. And the best memes of this week are the seating charts from all the theaters, like with no tickets being sold, and
oh god,
pretty funny.
That is, the fact that he was like tweeted, it's selling out. How does a movie sell out? Like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
So your zero?
Well, my zero is, and this is random. People need to stop telling me to try ice baths. What?
Like cold plunges?
Yeah. What?
Oh my god.
People are walking around and being like, life's not hard enough right now. What would really just cherry on the cake of my day is of it being 2 degrees out is to jump into ice water for a minute and have someone video it and make those like faces about how cold it is. Have you cold plunged? I think it's like
Yeah, I mean, I got to tell you, like, I've started doing it within the last month, and I really enjoy it. But no one's videoing
explain
me,
to
and I'm
why
not.
you can't just walk outside. It's 2 degrees.
I'm not gonna. It's totally different. It's totally different. The
What
key,
what do you
maybe.
think is good about it other than being able to brag about
I
it?
mean, the energy. I mean, first of all, it's very good. Like if you have inflammation or whatever, it's very helpful. And the energy level that I feel from it is pretty ridiculous.
Like
You know,
afterwards you have more energy.
afterwards. Yeah.
I feel like I would want to like curl up and go to bed afterwards. No?
That's not how I felt. Now you could go hot then cold, cold then hot. You know, you
Yeah.
got to figure out what
I
the
don't know.
right
That
sequence
sounds
is
like
for you.
that sounds like a short road to a long flu.
Right,
Hot, cold,
right.
hot, cold. I don't know.
We should bring someone on to talk about this.
All right,
That's
Floss, our
yeah.
friend Floss,
Oh,
who
she's
I love, no matter I love, 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 no matter how many times she
she did
has
a
told me
she
things
did
are good for
a
me that I don't want to do.
her newsletter was about cold plunges
I
this week.
know. All
Yeah, there
right,
you go.
Floss, you got to come on and talk this through with us.
Best case scenario newsletter.
There,
There you go. Little plug.
little plug.
All right,
Um,
heroes.
Heroes, the new Star Trek show, Starfleet Academy, is
Oh,
so wonderful. I highly recommend it. If you need an escape from the kind of darkness of what's happening in our current time and world, take a trip in the 33rd century with Starfleet Academy. It stars Holly Hunter, and it is so delightful and warm, and there are hot people kissing, and there's big
was
feeling.
waiting for that.
Yeah, well, there's going to be pretty people kissing if it's a show I love. But also, it just like, it's so much about coming through for people and doing your best and how good that feels. I just feel that the Star Trek Roddenberry universe gives a very hopeful look at what a future could look like. And there was pushback to this. They felt people thought it was too woke. It is not too woke. It is people being kind to each other. And I think everybody should try it. It's on Paramount Plus, and it's a delight.
All right. Wow, that's quite an endorsement.
Yeah.
I guess I might have to check it out.
You Star Trek
My,
at all, Peter?
yeah, I like Star Trek.
Okay.
I like the movies especially. That's good.
Were you a Next
Uh,
Generation guy?
I watch that. Yeah, I watch the originals. I watch next. Like I'm not going to conventions or anything, but I watch the shows.
Maybe next year.
Yeah. My hero is the Olympics, which starts this Friday.
Now, do
Okay.
you go all in on the Olympics? Are you you're going to be an expert in curling by Tuesday?
Funny you mentioned that because I did curling for the first time yesterday and I loved it, and I'm very much looking forward to
Wait, that's really
watching
funny.
Olympics
I didn't even
curling.
know that. What is
Yeah.
that?
Wow. You stopped looking at my Instagram, I guess. But I think we need it. Frankly, the world needs it.
That's a good point.
And hopefully this could be something in as we said, a very dark time. The Olympics could help unify people and bring people together, bring the world together.
Let us all
I'm
pray for it not being marred by any violence, and for
Yeah.
that to be the case.
Yeah, and it's in Cortina and Milan, wonderful places.
Wonderful.
Wish I could have been there, but look, there's some good stories on the American team, and hopefully that could be a way for everyone to rally.
What's
and
your
sort of,
favorite to watch?
I'm a skier, so I love the skiing events. The downhills, the slaloms,
The jumping. I love when they
moguls.
jump.
Yeah, it's crazy. So
I can go.
Good
I
luck.
go
Go
girly
USA.
figures. I like a couple figure skating together.
Yeah.
I'm sure that doesn't surprise you.
not surprised at all.
No.
Not surprised at all. So
All
all right.
Good talk. Everyone stay strong, and remember, trust your own eyes and talk to your neighbors.
Yeah. Thank you very much for watching and listening to the Across the Bar podcast. Thanks, Sadie, for your producing
Thank you,
work
Sadie.
here. And we'll see everyone next week.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.